All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to day 3 of Tech Week. I hope you're enjoying all of the videos that you or trainings that you've attended so far. Today, we're going to jump into deep dive into Immersive Reader, and I'm going to give you a little bit of information. So, first thing, oh, so, oh, there we go, not popping up. All right. So first thing we have is our attendance survey. You can look at the banner. You can also see that you can go to tinyurl.com/LPPS attendance, or you can scan the QR code with your phone. And while you guys are taking your attendance survey, I'll go ahead and tell you our objectives for today's lesson. So for today, we're going to make sure that we focus on Immersive Reader. I want you to understand what Immersive Reader is, how to use it in your classroom, and how to use it to best accommodate your students. And I'll give you all a couple more minutes before we move on. And if anybody wants to network and learn who else is in the chat, you can always drop your name and what school you're at, what grade you teach in the comments. And that way you can network and get some other people that you can have for help. And you can also ask questions. So don't forget, if you have any questions, please ask in the comments. All right, we're going to go ahead and move on. So my name is Jordan Gendry. I am a teacher at Live Oak Junior High. I've also taught at Live Oak Middle. I currently teach 7th grade ELA. I have a bachelor's in science from Southeastern in grades 4 through 8, and I'm certified in English language arts and science. I have a master's in educational leadership and technology, and I'm a certified reading specialist. A couple fun personal facts about me is that I do have 2 daughters. One is starting kindergarten this year. The other is one. And I love Dr. Pepper. It kind of fuels my workday. All right, so let's talk about why Immersive Reader. So Immersive Reader is a free app built in across the Microsoft platform and Edge. Edge is going to be that Internet Explorer E on your browser, on your screen. It's text to speech. It's non-stigmatizing. It's completely free. You can color and theme things for students. It breaks down words into syllables as necessary, highlights your parts of speech, allows for language transition or translation. It has a picture dictionary. You have reading rulers that you can put in as well. And so with Microsoft, it was created based on the focus of students with dyslexia. And so therefore, your process or what you're doing, you're learning, it's better geared towards those students who need help or are going to be a little bit more apprehensive in terms of reading. So where do I find Immersive Reader? Immersive Reader is going to be found Microsoft Online, Minecraft Education, Microsoft 10, and in Flipgrid. And so if you look up here, you can see where we have the little arrows. In Flipgrid, you have it right here. And then in your Word, it's here. So we're going to go ahead and start. I'm sharing my screen with you guys. I'm going to show you how to get there. And I do have a link to the presentation as well. So once you log into Microsoft from the school board, you do have to use your Office 365. You see your little waffle with all your options. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to click on Microsoft Word. Now, I already have my document pulled up over here. So I have Research of Foreign Habitat. Once I get into my document, I'm going to go over here to the bar where it says View. I'm going to click on View. Once I choose View, I hit this button that says Immersive Reader. When I hit Immersive Reader, it's going to change the view of my screen, and you'll be able to see something that looks like this. When you get to this, you push this little arrow or play button at the bottom.
Research of foreign habitat. Objectives. Identify similarities and differences between habitats.
So this allows you to see what's going on or to hear what has been typed. Now, if you go to the little microphone or the voice settings next to it, you can actually change things. You can change your speed. So notice they have a tortoise and the hare type reference where the turtle goes slower, hare goes faster. So if that's a little too fast, you can move it back. And you can also choose voice between female and male. So if you wanted a male voice and a little bit slower, we can start and we can listen.
Habitats. Comprehend the connection between diverse organisms and the environments in which they live.
And so you can play with this until it works for you. Now I'm going to move it up, and I prefer the female voice, so I'm changing mine back. Next thing we have is we're going to go up to the top, and you have 3 references. The first one is going to be your text preferences. The second one is going to be grammar options, and your third one is going to be reading preferences. We're going to start with text preferences at the top. When I click on text preferences, a lot of different things pop up. The first thing is text size. So you can decrease the amount of words that you can see on the screen so you can see even more, or increase. Now, one way that I have seen this used in the past, or that I actually have used this, is that with my own personal child, we have been working on sight words since she's starting kindergarten, and we actually made a sight word list. And on that sight word list, I have increased the text size so that it's 1 word per line, which helps a lot. But the child can choose how much works for him or her. Then you have your line spacing. If you click off of line spacing, you see that everything is right next to each other. But for students that might need a little bit of spacing between, click, and then your lines are spaced. You can also change your fonts. I currently have mine on Comic Sans. Comic Sans is best for emerging readers or those students that are learning to read and write, because the letters, especially like the A's, are more like what they're learning to write or what they see. So you can change and choose the font that works best for you. After you choose your font, then you can move on to your color background. So we know some students do not do well with this white background. So we can choose, and it automatically changes our color theme. So you can choose black, you have a tan, green, blue, yellow. And if those colors don't work, you can go down and you see that there are much more. So I'm going to go with the blue. So when you're doing this, you also can show source formatting. So you can click on or off, and that's just going to allow it to keep your original formatting. Now, once again, once you've done all this, you can hit play.
Live. Materials needed. A 1/2 sheet or poster board or full.
So moving on like that. Now, remember, Immersive Reader can be found in the View tab in all Microsoft applications that we personally have on our computer. Remember, you do have to be in Office 365. Your desktop version is not going to work unless you have Microsoft 10 or more advanced. So why is this important? We know that it's going to reduce distractions and simplify our experience for our readers and help them focus on their content. The play button at the bottom of the screen allows you to play the text as needed. You can go back if you need and re-listen to something. And then the text-to-speech is not new, but it's built in to mainstream it and make it non-stigmatizing. So those students that need extra help can have it, and every kid in the class can use it. It doesn't just have to be those students with disabilities. So next thing we're going to talk about is going to be our grammar options. So the first thing you have is the syllables toggle. If you push it, notice that all the words are broken down by syllable. And if you push play,
Identify similarities and differences between habitats.
it's going to read it just like it would normally. You can also choose to color code your nouns, your verbs, your adjectives, and your adverbs. So if I push the toggle for nouns, all my nouns are now going to be highlighted in purple. Verbs can go red, adjectives are going to be green, and adverbs are going to be gold. Now, this allows you to break down and teach those grammars or those parts of grammar or parts of the sentences to your students. You can also change the colors. So if you have a textbook that you're using or a program that you're using to teach grammar to your students, you can always change the color so that it fits whatever's in your textbook. So if your textbook is going to have orange for nouns, you can hit orange and then it will automatically change. Maybe your verbs are going to be blue or green, say green for go. And so things like that you can change. Adjectives might be blue, and then adverbs we would keep the same. So again, you can change it to match what you have. Now, this toggle says show labels. If you want it to say V for verb, N for noun, ADJ for adjective, you make sure this toggle is clicked. If you don't want it specified, then you take it off. And then you can still, once again, you hit play.
Habitats. Comprehend the connection between diverse organisms and the environments in which they live.
And once again, you will notice that it continues to read aloud for you. So next thing we're going to look at, sorry guys, is we're going to look at our reading preferences. So the first thing we have is line focus. So if we turn on our line focus, notice it focuses on automatically one line at a time. You can choose the amount of lines that you focus on. For students that are learning to read and this is like your line ruler, you might need your one line. You can then do 2 lines like this or multiple. So this would be more of a paragraph form. And again, once you hit play, it reads and
Objectives.
highlights just what's in that
Identify
box.
similarities and differences between habitats. Comprehend the connection between diverse organisms and the environments in which they live. Materials needed.
And notice it moves up as it goes. So if your line focus, you also have a picture dictionary. Now, when you turn on your picture dictionary, any word like identify pops up that they can have a picture with. Not everything will. It's normally going to be your nouns that are going to have theirs and some of your verbs. So like organisms, diverse, connection, comprehend. And notice that when you hit the little immersive reader button next to it,
Comprehend.
not only does it give you that picture for that visual cue to help you better understand, you can listen to that
Comprehend.
one word in isolation. Next thing that we have in Immersive Reader that's also a game changer is going to be the translation or the translate tool. With this, you actually have 60 to 65 different languages that it translates to, and 45 of those are currently able to be translated and read aloud. So you can choose whatever you want, your language, and you can choose to do a specific word. So like if I choose to do just the word comprehend, and I'm going to choose, let me get it, Spanish, Mexico. And so once I do that, I'm going to translate by word. Notice it's going to give me it's not only going to give me the English, but when I click on the picture dictionary, but also now the Spanish version. And I can listen to both.
Environments.
Ambientes.
And it will read both of those aloud for me. If I want to change the entire document, I click on by document, and now the entire document is translated for me.
Investigar un hábitat extranjero. Objetivos. Identificar similitudes y diferencias entre los hábitats.
Now, anything that you have kept on up until this point, so like your colors, you're showing your labels, if you want to put that back on, will stay with whatever you're doing. So when you translate, any preferences that you've already made will stay on. And so I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. But that gives you a little bit about what we can see in Word. So let's go back to our presentation. And so you guys can see that we've talked about Word and how we got there. Remember, we went to our Microsoft Word. Now remember, mine's now on the side. You choose Immersive Reader. This is, remember, what it looks like on the screen, where to change your voice speed, and to change from male to female. We talked about our Immersive Reader for Word and what our text does. Text preferences eliminates visual crowding, changes your font, it changes your font size. You can choose your color theme. And remember, Comic Sans is great for those emerging readers. A little bit more review. Immersive Reader for Word, when we talk about grammar options, you have your syllables, your nouns, and you can show your labels. And this is what it looks like. And this is the grammar view in Immersive Reader. And then you have, again, your reading preferences. This is going to be your line focus, your picture dictionary, and your language translator. All right, so let's talk a little bit about OneNote. I actually have a tutorial at the end of the presentation that you can link to, but in OneNote, you find it the same way. It is located in the View section. For this, it says you can use Office Lens, which is going to be an app, to upload anything directly as a PDF to OneNote. And when you do that, it will go ahead and translate or read for you in Immersive Reader. So you scan your document, it turns into a PDF, you upload it into OneNote, and it will read for you. You can also solve and translate math problems that you put in OneNote, and it will read out the equation step by step if you choose the solve option. All right, next thing we're going to go to Immersive Reader and Microsoft Edge. So Edge is going to be our browser option. And for this one, you guys can see that for Microsoft Edge, we're going to go straight here. And when you go to this, you don't necessarily see the little icon to read, but you have these three dots up here in the corner. When you click on those, if you have something highlighted or text highlighted, this read aloud option pops up. So let's look, let's see. Most expensive high schools in America. So when I click on that and I choose text that I want read aloud and I highlight it, I then go back to my three dots and now click read aloud.
Barbecue Guys Outdoor Grills. Our grills last for years.
Sorry guys, it gave you the
Add
advertisement.
www.barbecueguys.com/outdoor/grill.
And then up here at the top, you have your forward, backwards, play, and pause. So let me redo that. You guys can see here when we highlight.
When and how schools will reopen in the fall varies from state to state and even school district to school district.
Now you can also, here we go, toggle over your speed. You can change your voice. So we have David and continue on and choose someone else and then play again.
District with some announcing that schools will reopen for in-person instruction, others announcing that instruction will be entirely.
So you can go back and forth with that one as well. All right, so I'm going to option out of Edge. I'm just going to close all these tabs. And then I'm going to go over here to Flipgrid. Not certified. And educator login. So when you go to Flipgrid, in Flipgrid, you have the option to have this read aloud as well. So if you choose a grid, like this one was my virtual summer camp one, you can click on one. Like this one's for a article that my students had to read in my summer camp and then create a Flipgrid. In there, you automatically have this Immersive Reader button. So when you click it, your view changes. And it's going to look just like Immersive Reader for Word. You can hit play.
What do you think was the purpose of the Earth and Sky transcripts from the International Radio Program?
And again, you have the same settings, your voice speed, you have your text preferences, your grammar options, and your reading preferences. In your video itself,
hey guys,
you have this closed caption option, and you actually have to toggle this on before you create the video. But once you've done so, you have it pop up. So any video that you present or that you record for your students to watch, when you hit play, your captions
after
pop
reading
up.
your Earth and Sky transcript, I have a few questions for you to answer. Your first one is, what do you think?
So that is on Flipgrid. So it's a great opportunity for you to have on here. All right, let's go back into our presentation. And so once we're done with Microsoft Edge, remember in Microsoft Edge, you are able to select by highlighting. You choose the read aloud option, and Immersive Reader will highlight it as text. And so that's on your presentation as well. And then let's talk a little bit about how I personally use Immersive Reader in my classroom. So in my classroom, I use it a lot for self-editing. I teach grammar and writing, and so my students, when they write, I always make them listen to their document before they are allowed to submit it to me. A lot of times it helps them understand or catch mistakes that they might not see when they're reading by themselves. Let's face it, I know when I'm reading something, and if I have a typo, sometimes I read the typo as it's supposed to be written. I also use it for peer editing. A lot of times I will let my students or require them to get 3 students to listen to theirs prior to turning it in. And so when they're doing that, it gives 3 other people a chance to listen to what they've written and see if it works. Student accommodation. I also will use it for students that need tests read aloud. If it's a teacher-created test, I will pull it up on in my OneDrive, and I will have it up and ready for that student. And it's also great for emerging reader support. So if you have a student that is struggling or is a little bit behind grade level, they can use this and they can listen to whatever they have. You can allow anyone in the class that wants to listen, because some of us are auditory and it's just better if we prefer audiobooks. Here are a few apps that we can use or that already have Immersive Reader in it. Things like Wakelet, PowerSchool, Nearpod, Mindsets. So this is from the Microsoft website. So this is just a list. And then these are a few more that they have. We have like KidBlog, Pear Deck, Plume, Wonderopolis. So those are some that we have as well. And then over on this side, you see we have Canvas, ClickView, Deck Toys, a lot more. The last few that have been added are also listed in here. So they're constantly updating. They're constantly adding new platforms to which Immersive Reader is being added. And the next to last thing that we have are these are tutorials about Immersive Reader. So the first one I put up there is Our 2 Cents. So if you haven't watched Heather White and Amanda Jones present for Our 2 Cents, I highly recommend it. In fact, Heather is helping with the comments today, so you guys can all tell Heather hello. Then we have What is Immersive Reader? This one is from the Microsoft website. The next couple, you can use Immersive Reader in Microsoft Teams. Immersive Reader, great free reading tool. Immersive Reader in the classroom. Microsoft Education Immersive Reader, and then Open PDF document for those of you that like to keep things or open a PDF in Word. So all of these are great. 2 of them are from the Microsoft website. The rest are created by other educators for you guys to watch and use so that you understand how teachers use this in their classroom.
There is a question. Okay. The question is, what are the differences basically between Snap and Read and Immersive Reader? They're debating on which one would be more beneficial.
So for me, the differences between Snap and Read and Immersive Reader, I find that this one, I like the color preferences a little bit more, and it's a little bit easier for my students to get in and out. It's honestly a personal preference for your students. I know I have one student that prefers Immersive Reader over Snap and Read. And I will look into it and find out what it specifically is a little bit more.
Is it Snap and Read paid?
Yes, Snap and Read is paid, whereas this one's free.
Yeah, that's what I typed. So.
Yeah. But if you email me, I will definitely look into it for you and see if there's anything else or another overlying difference. And then the last thing for you guys, if you have not taken your attendance survey already, here's your attendance survey. So you can go to the link tinyurl.com and make sure that, or you can scan it with your phone. So make sure you put in that you came, that you attended, that you watched this webinar, because there are prizes. And they're pretty sweet. We just got to see them. All right, and then the next thing you guys have, presenter feedback survey. So this is going to be, again, tinyurl.com. You can go to LPPS Tech Week or scan with your phone for the QR code, and you guys can go ahead and give some presenter feedback. And I'll give you all a minute to do that as well. And remember, if you have any questions, you can type them in or you can email, whatever you prefer. And then the last thing is just thank you guys for attending Tech Week. Thank you guys for promoting this and for wanting to learn to better your students. We truly appreciate it. Again, my name is Jordan Guidry. You can email me at jordan.guidry@lpsb.org. You can follow me on Twitter or Instagram. I have both of those. So I am truly appreciative of you guys, and I thank you for attending. I hope you all have a wonderful day.